Welcome back. If you want to get the most out of your Social Security benefits, you really have to understand how those benefits are calculated. And I don't care how old you are, I don't care how far away you are from retirement. You have to understand how your work history will impact your benefits. And I know it may seem like it's a black box, it may seem like it's overcomplicated, but it's really not. In this video, we're going to walk through the steps to help you understand how Social Security will calculate your specific benefits, because that's the only way you can make decisions around, should I retire early? Should I work an extra year? How will that impact my benefits? In this video, you'll learn exactly what you need to know. There are really only two major steps in calculating your Social Security benefits, and we're going to walk through both of them. First, calculate your average index monthly earnings. Now, this sounds complicated, but it's really not. This is just your highest 35 years of inflation-adjusted earnings divided by 420, which is the number of months in 35 years, and that gets you your average index monthly earnings. Don't worry, we're going to walk through an example. Once you have your AIM, then you use that AIM to determine your primary insurance amount. And your primary insurance amount, your PIA, that's the only thing that is. It is your Social Security benefit if you were to claim at your full retirement age. That's it. And for most folks, that full retirement age is between 66 and 67. For all those born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is age 67. So that's it. Calculate your AIM, use the AIM to determine your PIA. Here we have an example so that it actually makes sense. We have a retiree born in 1963. So she was born in 1963, meaning in 2025, she becomes eligible for Social Security at age 62. Right? So you're eligible at age 62. This is her work history. So from 1983 on down to 2019. Make that a little bigger. Okay. And in each of these years, this is her income. So it's for Social Security purposes, not all of your income counts. There's a cap. And when you make more than that cap, then those earnings above that cap no longer count for Social Security. For example, if the cap is $50,000 this year, and the cap goes up every year, let's say it's $50,000 this year. Let's say you earn $75,000. Well, only $50,000 of that 75 counts for Social Security purposes. So that other 25, it's like it didn't happen. No, Social Security doesn't care. It doesn't exist. We're going to assume that for each year, this person, she earns the maximum amount of income that qualifies for Social Security purposes. So in 1983, that number was $35,700, all the way on down to 2019. 2019, that number, the Social Security cap, was $132,900. So we're going to assume that every year she's hitting the cap. Every single year she's hitting the cap. So that is her income. Now we have this inflation factor. So Social Security adjusts income in previous years to equal that income in today's dollars, for lack of a better way to say it. $35,700 in 1983 is not the same as $35,700 in 2025, 2024, 2023. It's just not. And so those income numbers from previous years, 1983, for example, Social Security applies an inflation factor to get those earnings up to today's dollars. And you can find that inflation factor here. And there's a couple of links here that may be helpful. This one, for example, will help you determine your inflation factor. So this person, this retiree, became eligible, so age 62 in 2025. And these are the inflation factors for her. Right? And this is what Social Security is going to do to calculate your benefit. All right, so we have the inflation factor. So 35,700 times 4.37, that gives you $156,000. So that's the 35,700 in today's dollars. Now remember, it's the 35 highest earning years of inflation-adjusted dollars, inflation-adjusted earnings, indexed earnings. So only 10 years to qualify, but 35 years. 35 years is what they use to calculate your benefit. All right, so this person has, let's say she has, in this example, she has 37 years. She has 37 years of work history. Well, she only needs 35. All right, so we have inflation adjusted, but we only want to take the top 35 years. So what do? All right, we sort. So let's sort index earnings from largest to smallest. Okay. These are the highest. And again, we have, 37 down here? You have 37. We only need 35. So we're going to kick out the bottom two. We don't care. Now we have 35 years of earnings. Let's make sure. Okay. 35 years of earnings. So that we sum all of these numbers, all the index earnings, and that's $5.7 million. Then we take that 5.7 million and we divide it by 420. Why do we divide it by 420? Well, 35 years of 12 months per year is equal to 420 months. We want a monthly number. So we take this sum of all of those 35 highest index earnings years and we divide it by 420 to get the average index monthly earnings. Now, that is not it. This is not the PIA. This is not the Social Security benefit, sadly. It'd be nice if it was. 13.6, that would be nice, but that's not it. This is just the end of step one. So let's go to step two. Step number two, the final step, use your AIM that we just calculated to determine your primary insurance amount. Again, the PIA, that is just the amount of Social Security you would get at your full retirement age. That's the PIA. And it is not the AIM. It's not that huge, that 13,000 and something number that we just calculated. No. It would be great if it was, but it's not. You get 90% of the first $1,226 of that AIM. And we'll work through an example to show exactly how this works, but I just wanted to preview it for you. 90% of the first $1,226. Now you get 32%. 32% of the amount between $1,226 and $7,391. 90% of the first $1,226, 32% of the amount between $1,226 and $7,391, and then a much smaller percentage. Look at that, 15% of the amount over $7,391. All right, so you get the largest percentage of that lowest block. Smaller percentage, less than half on that second block, and then very small, 15% of the amount over $7,391. So the amount over $7,391, that's not really helping you that much. And all you have to do to calculate your PIA at this point, it's pretty straightforward. You just add up all of these numbers. 90% of the first $1,226, 32% of the amount between $1,226 and $7,391. And for the amount that's over $7,391, you just multiply that amount by 15%. The sum, the total, is your PIA. And let me just mention that these numbers, the 1226 and the 7391, these are specific to 2025. These are 2025 numbers. And these numbers, they do go up every year. They do go up a bit. So keep that in mind. Now let's see how that applies to our example. Here we are, we're back at our example. Remember, we're at 13,635 for those average index monthly earnings. But you don't get all of that for Social Security. You get 90%, 32%, and 15%. So let's see how that looks. Okay, so 90% of the first 1226, that's $1,103 to be exact. 32% of the amount between 1226 and 7391, that's 1973. And then much smaller percentage, 15% of the amount over 7391. That gives us a primary insurance amount of $4,000, $4,013. That's it. That is the PIA. So for her, right, her PIA would be, and this is an estimate, just want to, for illustration, I want to show you how these numbers work. Her average index monthly earnings were $13,635. That equated to a PIA of about $4,000. $4,000. And these numbers, this 1226, 7391, these are called, technically, they're called bend points. They're called bend points. So if you see that, then you understand what bend points are. All right, now let's look at another example real quick. Now, let's say same person, same retiree, 37 years. Now, let's say this retiree say, you know what? After 25 years, I just want to be done. I just want to retire. So we put zeros all the way down here. Whoops. All the way down here. Zeros. See how that sum? Let me fix this real quick. This out of the way. Okay. So the sum of those 25 years now is 4 million. Used to be 5.7. Now she only has 25 years of earnings. And she'll get 10 zeros. And those zeros are going to impact her average index monthly earnings, which will then impact her PIA, 4 million. That 4 million is still divided by 420. Still divided by 420, because just because she only has 25 years of earnings does not mean that we change what it's divided by. Nope, still 420. She just has all these zeros instead of actual earnings that she had before. Okay, now, so 9,614, her average index monthly earnings. We use that AIM to calculate her PIA. This is still the same. This is still the same. This goes down. All right, we were at 937 before. Now we're at 333. Why don't these others go down? Because 9,600 is still more than 7,391. So we get all of this goodness, we get all of that goodness, but here, that 15%, that's where it goes down. So now our PIA, because she retired early after 25 years, is 3,410 versus 4,000. Right, so that's about $600 in difference per month. Right? And your PIA will go up whether you work or not. Your PIA will go up for inflation, will be COLA adjusted. But one thing to think about, right? When you're thinking about, okay, I want to retire early, how will it impact your PIA? And is it worth it? Right? Is it worth it to work another 10 years to make another $600 a month for 12 months? Is that over $7,000, $7,200 a year? I mean, that's a decent amount of money. Give up, but also working 10 years, depending on what type of work you're doing, it may not matter, right? It may not matter. And this higher Social Security benefit here, right, in absolute terms, because both of these benefits will be inflation adjusted, this one gets bigger faster, right? Grows faster because it starts out bigger. So that's something to think about. So if you want to maximize, if you really want to maximize your Social Security benefit and you're trying to decide how much longer to work, is it worth it to work an extra year or not, you got to understand how these benefits are calculated. And now you know. Step number 1, calculate your average index monthly earnings. That's what Social Security will do. Take 35 years of earnings, inflation adjust those. And then step 2, use your AIM to determine your primary insurance amount. So it seems like it's complicated. It is not. It's not. 2 steps. And now you know, and now you can plan accordingly. Thanks for joining. Please like and subscribe for more straightforward information on both Social Security and Medicare.
I got it. That makes sense, Dad.